Sunshine, can I still donate for camp?
Let's talk about that after, because we're live streaming right now.
Okay.
Thanks.
Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, you are beautiful just the way you are. Step into the love, you're illuminated by the glory of God's love. Step into the truth, from within your abundance overflows. Our love can change one life can change the world. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. So move with me, step with me, step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. So move with me, step with me, step into the light.
Hello, beloveds, and welcome to Vida Spiritual Learning Center. My name is Sunshine Day, and I get to be the spiritual director of this spiritual community. And it is my absolute joy and privilege to welcome you to our Sunday celebration. This is an opportunity for us to gather in beloved community and recognize the truth of who we are, that right where we are, God is. We also have a vision and mission that we share each and every week. And so today, what I'd like to do is engage us in not only reading and seeing our vision and mission, but actually embodying it. I'm going to say it in English and in Spanish so that we're actually transmitting this vibration into languages. So our vision and mission is this: by valuing and empowering all, we inspire a fulfilling and joyous life. A valorar y potenciar todo, inspiramos una vida plena y alegre. So it is to that consciousness that I welcome you this morning, this grand, and glorious morning. And as part of our spiritual practice, we engage not only in prayer and meditation, but all sorts of spiritual practice, like we just did, singing together, being in beloved community, and bringing us and moving us into that place of centering is our practitioner, Angelica Guzman. She's going to lead us in a meditation and then open us up in a word of blessing, a word of prayer. So I invite you now to simply surrender your love and attention to our practitioner, Angelica Guzman.
Good morning, everyone. If we take a seat and restful seat in our chairs, and if we feel comfortable, will you please close your eyes so we could center our mind and center ourselves in this present moment, in this moment of prayer, in this moment of community and engagement with Spirit, with God. And breathe deeply. And let go any stress or anything that could be bothering us. Just to simply breathe and relax and center ourselves in this moment. Open up our hearts to let that feeling of the essence of God come into our bodies. It's always there, but make it present. Make it aware that we feel it, that it's within our hearts, that it's in our precious body. This body that was given to us to manifest ourselves in this life, knowing that the essence of God is within us, with this body, that the essence of God is present from our head to our toes. At this moment, I would like to make you aware of your feet touching this ground. Our wonderful feet that take us everywhere, in all the places we need to go. Today is a celebration of our body, of our bodies, which represent the life of God, which is the manifestation and the way that we present ourselves to enjoy, to light up in this life. So we're going to recognize, and with so much of a feeling of gratefulness, with lots of gratitude, we are going to take a little journey into our body. And with this feeling of gratitude, the same gratitude we feel as when we see the face of our mother, this feeling of gratitude when we see for the first time our baby's face, or we see a little chick being born. That gratitude, that warmth feeling, we bring it to us at this moment. And with that same gratitude feeling, and with that same love feeling, we're going to take a journey into our body. Let's have that loving feeling for our legs. See your legs and feel your legs and transmit that feeling of gratefulness into our legs. They help us go, they help us move. They're with us when we are relaxing, when we put them in bed so they could rest after a day of moving around. At this moment, just with our thoughts, send out that energy of gratitude into them. As we move along, we could have the feeling, be aware of our stomach, our lower stomach, our digestive system, all our important organs that are settled into our middle part, into our section of our abdomen, in our stomach. And with so much gratitude and wonder for all the magnificent functioning of what our body and our organs are, let's send love and gratitude for all they do, even when we are not aware of it. Because we know that in each of these organs, it's the life, the essence of God, keeping our body perfect and infinite work and perfect state for them to do all the functioning. Love and blessing to all of them. And now we move to our arms. Our arms. Feel them, sense them. And let's send them the same feeling of love and gratitude. Because with our arms, we do so many things. And they are the connection to our hands. Our hands that help us prepare our food, to give love, to caress our loved ones, to work. Our hands are so important. Let's send them some love and gratitude. And if we could rub them to make them feel the love that I'm sending, all these wonderful parts of our body, our fingers, that let us do so many things. And now we're going to move into our neck, where we have our vocal cords, and we have the opportunity to express our feelings, emotions, and energy through our vocal cords, through our voice. We could express our thoughts, our feelings, our love to others. So we send them some love and gratitude at this moment. Our face and all our features in our face, our mouth that let us articulate our sounds, to have our sense of taste, our sense of smell, our sense of sight, and we are able to see all the wonders in this world, all the creations of God that are one with me, that are one with all of us. We see them and we praise them with much gratitude. Our brain in the top of our heads, we're grateful for this magnificent part of our body, a way to express and manifest God. All our thoughts, all our feelings, all our emotions, all that energy, that love, that light of God that comes through us and through our body. And now everyone could go to a place in your body that you would like, or that you are grateful for what it's doing. If you wanted to continue to work in a perfect state, send it all the love that you have. Or all those little parts where sometimes you've had a little bit of judgment. At this moment, all those parts make who you are. Let's be grateful for those little parts that sometimes we are not so grateful, or we agree with the way they function or with the way they look. Let's give them all our love and appreciation, because they make us be who we are. Let's take a minute, let's take a moment to celebrate those parts and every other part in our body. Feel the essence of God on each and every one of them. Send them energy of healing, perfect state, love, gratitude. Now let's breathe deeply, knowing that the energy of God is only one. This energy is my life and the life of all of us reunited this morning. Let's be present in this moment and feel that energy of God within us. We are grateful for the opportunity to have these bodies to transcend, to live, to enjoy life, to be light, to be love, and to be here for everyone. Let's transcend into a better life. Let's transcend into recognizing who we are and what we came to be, to recognize our purpose, to recognize that we are love, that we are life, that we are community, that we are well-being. We are thankful for the opportunity to be present, to be here at this moment, to be here and to have the life of God, that it's our life. We are grateful for everyone that is present in this Zoom meeting, grateful for the ones that are meeting in other places, for the ones that couldn't be here. But we know that we are connected and we are all one. We let this go to the law, knowing that it's already done. And very gratefully, we enjoyed each and every one of us at this meeting. And so it is.
Wow. Oh, thank you, Angelica. What a beautiful meditation. You know, so often we focus on our spiritual aspects, but to be connected to the body, that temple of the divine. Marvelous. Thank you. Thank you so much. And as we breathe into and come back into this space, of course, that means it's time for some announcements. And we will start off by reminding everyone that Reverend Sunshine hosts a spiritual remedy, and that is every Monday at 9 a.m. And you can find that on the Vida SLC Facebook Live channel. So join Reverend Sunshine for that. And of course, we also remind you that we do have our Minute Miracles with a Practitioner, which is available to anyone who wishes a prayer, and that is after our service time. We use a breakout feature where you can be in a private space with the practitioner, and you can see the practitioners in the chat and to connect with a practitioner. So we certainly invite you to partake of that. And of course, as Angelica was saying, giving thanks and gratitude to all of that. We do that to all who serve in our putting together of this gathering for everyone. And of course, the top of the list is our practitioner of the day, Angelica Guzman. We give her thanks, show some love to her for that really wonderful meditation. Our message this morning will be brought to us by our own Reverend Sunshine, and she's going to, I'm sure, bring us to some great place of understanding and newness, all the great things that she can do. We like to also recognize our live stream monitors. These are the folks who keep an eye out on both YouTube and on the Facebook and just kind of watch over what's going on. The other ones who watch over us in a whole different aspect is our Leadership Council. And these are the folks who kind of, I like to say, steer the ship. You know, they've got the wheel and the rudder, and they kind of keep the community of Vida on its right course. And of course, now we have a technical team that is growing as we just continue on with this great tradition of doing things via Zoom, via recorded messages, just many different things. And so we just give thanks for all of those folks who who participate and make this a technical wonder in many ways. And that leads us to another way to give thanks, and that is in our practice of giving as a spiritual practice. That place where, the invitation really is to give to that place where you're spiritually nourished. And we like to think that Vida is a place that is a place of spiritual nourishment, and we have several ways that we can give. One of those is you can send a gift to our physical address, which is 1524 East Hellman Street in Long Beach, California, and that is 90813. You can also use your bill pay service and check that out through your online banking. If you like, you can use the donate buttons, which are in the chat and on our website, where you can actually do a credit or debit contribution. And if you're using the Zelle app, which many of us have on our phones, you can simply Zelle to Vida at vidaslc.org. And as we talk about our giving, we have an affirmation that we use to bring that all home for each of us. And this is what that affirmation looks like, and I invite everyone to unmute and let's say this together. We can say it either in English or in Spanish. And I'm going to choose English because that is the one that I know best, but we certainly invite you to choose whichever one works for you. So at this point, click that little icon to unmute, and here we go. Abundance flows in my life. I am blessed with prosperity. I give with generosity. Yes.
I tithe on faith,
belief,
and with a consciousness of love. My gift is a circulation through me that now benefits and grows spiritual community and beyond.
And now it is. Very good. You all sound wonderful. All right, as we prepare for that message that Sunshine is about to give to us, let us join together in singing in the Spirit.
I'm walking in the Spirit, walking in the Spirit, walking in the Spirit, the Spirit of one God, loving in the Spirit, loving in the Spirit, loving in the Spirit, the Spirit of one God. Spirit.
beloveds. I greet you on this Sunday morning with love and lots of enthusiasm. Today, we get a chance to continue a topic which Reverend Kevin talked about last week. And as we look at this entire year of our theme for the year, this month, we actually are looking at the body, right? So let me just share that the theme for the year has been everyday wonder, or actually living everyday wonder, because we have a choice to live or to exist. So are you living everyday wonder? Are you living everyday wonder? And today, I'm going to talk about loving this body. So my goal for today is to actually have everybody saying at the end of this, I delight in the wonder of my body and I treat it kindly. So you may not be ready to say that right now, but by the end of our time together today, I want you to consider the possibility of saying, I delight in the wonder of my body and treat it kindly. And I'm reminded of India Arie. India Arie is a contemporary artist who just has some amazing and wonderful lyrics about loving her body, about loving life, and really recognizing the divine physical manifestation of God. And she likes to say, my body is beautiful and sacred, and I'm going to celebrate it. And that would be wonderful for all of us to, by the end of my talk, or maybe even now, and this is just confirmation for you, to be able to go like, yeah, I delight in my body and my body is sacred and I'm going to celebrate it. And many of us, depending on the stage of our existence, of our life flow, may or may not be able to say that in this moment. And I want to recognize that whether we consider ourselves young or sage, meaning that we have lived, into our 30, the third decade, the fourth decade, the fifth decade, the sixth decade, the seventh decade, the eighth decade. And I know many of us know that we have some folks in our community that are joyfully in their ninth decade of life, of having this physical body, that depending on the stages, when in our second decade, if we can remember back to our first decade, the first 10 years of our lives, we were young and ripping and running, and maybe some of us experienced illness in the body. So many of us who have grown up here in the United States of America have grown up with television, have grown up with social media, with the bombardment of what it's like to have a body or what your body should look like. And I laugh because, lately, my thing around the word should is actually a denial of that which is real. When we say should, like you should have known better, you should have done this, you shouldn't have done that, you're actually in denial of the reality of what is right now. Should is wishing that something would be different than what it is in this current moment. And it is such a waste of time. Shouldn't be in our vocabulary. Okay, I crack myself up a little bit sometimes. And, when I look at social media, when I look at ads, when I look at the world at large, everybody is always sharing what our bodies should look like, what we should be doing or shouldn't be doing, what we should be eating or shouldn't be eating. And I'd say, stop shitting on ourselves, right? that we need to stop looking on the outside for the direction about our own bodies. Here's what I know, and here's what I want to share. And that is that you are not only a spiritual being, you are a physical being. Your body is the unique, unrepeatable, magnificent way that God is showing up in the physical, and that your body is actually the body of God. Your body is the body of God. My body is the body of God. And it is the physical manifestation of this idea in the mind of God. My body, your body is the way that God is expressing itself in human form. The problem is that sometimes we forget that we are uniquely spirit body, and that this beautiful combination causes lots of duality. And in our living, we think that we're only our body. So in other words, there are times when I forget the spiritual truth about myself. There are times when I forget that I am spirit and body and consciousness, that I am consciousness in this particular package. And I think that I am my age or my race or my socioeconomic class, or I think I'm my gender or my expression. And I forget that I am the unique and unrepeatable way which God shows up. And to the degree that I remember that, to the degree in which I remember that this is the body of God, then I can stop beating myself up. I can stop talking about myself being stupid or being too fat, too skinny, too short, too tall, too white, too black, too brown, too thick, too thin. Oh, my body aches. I'm too old. I'm too young. All of those things that we tell ourselves, you're actually, oh, by the way, talking about the body of God. So what is the message that you're saying and that you're saying about God? Because how you talk about yourself and your body is what you're believing about God itself. Now, when I say God itself, I'm not talking about some deity up in the sky, in the ethers that we cannot reach. I'm talking about the infinite intelligence, the consciousness, the creative intelligence that created everything out of itself. And so when you talk about your body as being a piece of crap or not being good enough, or, oh, I'm only human and this physical body is just so fallible and so this and so that or so the other thing, you're actually saying, God, you're a piece of crap. God, you're just, a pain in the neck. Oh, God, look at your pimples and look at your scars and look at how fat you are, God, and look at how skinny or look at how ugly you are. This is exactly what we're saying. I know it's a little bit harsh, but I've been on vacation. And so I've had a long time to think about this. And the bottom line is that when I come and I speak, I want to speak something that is powerful and something that just kind of afflicts the comfortable and comforts the afflicted. We can no longer just simply, like cruise on by like everything is okay when we're really talking about ourselves and the body of God as if it's not whole, perfect, and complete. Now, mind you, we have been hoodwinked. We have been bamboozled. We have been hypnotized by the world to think that at a particular age we have arrived, or we need to be the beauty queen or king or royalty, and that, our bodies, our shapes need to be a particular way in order to be successful. And I'm just here to say that's not true. That your body, the body that God has chosen in which to incarnate itself, to live and have its being and to have its awakening as you, is whole, perfect, and complete. Aches, pains, warts, divots, and all. That what about all of that is not perfect? What about it? We have fallen into the propaganda that, if your hair is straight, it needs to be curly. If it's curly, it needs to be straight. If your hair is gray, that it needs to have some color. That if you're heavy set, that you need to lose weight, or, all of that. We have fallen into the propaganda of capitalism that has provided, these pills and potions and makeup and all of these things that tell you and continuously tell you over and over again that in order to get the girl, in order to get in order to get such and such, you need to smoke this kind of cigarette, you need to drive this kind of car, you need to look this particular way, wear this particular suit, have your hair be in a particular way. And again, we allow ourselves to be captivated and to be hypnotized by a world that is lying to us about who we really are. And the only way to recognize the truth of who we really are is through our own spiritual practice and through an attitude of gratitude and recognizing that our body temple, that this body is the body of God. This body temple not only is the body of God, but it is God. That it is the unique, unrepeatable way that this power and this presence has decided and chosen to express itself and experience humanity. And wow, if we get an opportunity to live and to experience life, whether we experience it with what we call healthy or unhealthy body temples, it is still the unique, unrepeatable way that God is showing up in human form. And that at each and every moment, you have an opportunity to choose the smile or the frown, but it is your decision. And so how do we age gracefully? How do we actually take maybe some of these aches, these pains, these experiences that we have in this human body and still recognize that this is God? That my hands, these are the hands of God. What do I do with these hands? Do I use them to hurt and harm people, or do I use them to help people? Do I use them to write about the beauties, or do I use it to write and discriminate and to judge? How do I use my body temple to continue to glorify this power and this presence that is my very life? And some of us are experiencing pain in the body temple. I was just visiting with my folks, and, my dad is, also in his 90s and has completed his 9th decade, right? Of living. And he's now in that, going towards 100 because he's, 91. My mom also in her late 80s, experiencing some dementia, experiencing some body aches, experiencing that aging process. And what we have learned here, especially in the US, is really to be at odds with our body and our body temple, not to love it, not to like it, to be complaining, oh, this is not right. Where in fact, at any point in time, it's never too soon to start and it's never too late to start. In this moment, we can begin to appreciate our body temple just as it shows up. And that by having an attitude of gratitude, that things begin to shift and change, that we no longer have to just call it a truce. but that we can actually thrive, and that we have the wherewithal to actually heal the mental twist that has taught us to be at odds with our body. I know for me, to be, to be perfectly out, for me, I can no longer control and enjoy my drinking. My body temple, when I put any alcohol or any substances in my body temple does not react like other people. It creates a phenomenon within itself, and the next thing you know, I'm off and running, and I'm not the best human being on the planet when I'm, under the influence of alcohol. What I get an opportunity to do is recognize that about my body and go, wow, here's how God is expressing as me. And for this particular body temple, God as me does not need any alcohol because it is not productive for me. I don't enjoy my life when I'm under the influence of alcohol. I have an allergy. I could be mad and be like, dang, I can't drink with the rest of y'all. And I could be fighting against it or trying to, cure it. Or I can kind of go, hey, God has me. This is how my body temple is. I get to learn that about myself. I get to appreciate and love that about myself. Those body aches like my parents are experiencing, or even in our mental capacity, the forgetfulness or the joint pains and things of that nature. Oh, so this is what it's like to be this age. Oh, so this is what it's like to experience this at this particular time in my evolution, in my continued growth and unfoldment. I don't have to continue to curse my body and be like, you're a piece of crap. Look at 40, at 50, you can't even, walk up and down. Or what we can do is move into that attitude of gratitude and recognize that this is the body temple of God. This body is the way God is expressing. And so being in acceptance of that, being able to thank my body, as Angelica took us through that meditation, to thank my fingers, my joints, to thank my capacity to think, to thank, this skin, this epidermis, right? For protecting me from the elements, right? The opportunity to have my 5 senses, to be able to smell and to hear and to taste. Like, Spirit would love to have any old kind of body, right? There's a story of how the spirits or the angel realm is so jealous of the human experience, because we get to traverse this plane in a body temple that spirits, right, would love to embody, to have a body in which to experience this 3-dimensional form. And yet here we are in this 3-dimensional form with the body of God, not being grateful, not being thankful that our nails grow, that our hair grows, or that it doesn't grow. To be able to be in acceptance and to recognize that this body temple is the body of God. So what we get to release right now is we get to release this idea of separation. I get to release that my body is separate from God. A lot of times, some of the misinterpretations of the Bible, about the flesh and the sins of the flesh and all of that. This is the unique way that God itself, that consciousness, is experiencing this 3-dimensional form. This your body, my body, is the beautiful way that God is experiencing itself in human form. And so loving it, loving the body temple, caring for the body temple. You know, there are people like Alicia Keys, India Arie, Lizzo, you know, who are breaking the stereotypes of, you know, the Barbie doll look, you know, or the Ken doll look, you know. That is such an antiquated, outdated, unrealistic idea of humanity. And, you know, there are people in the forefront who are talking about radical self-acceptance and radical self-love and, you know, loving the body temple and caring for it in such a way. I'm thinking right now of, you know, how we just disregard the body and how what it means to be a spiritual person means to really recognize that we are mind, body, spirit, right? That we are mind, body, spirit, that we are consciousness, that we are body, that we are spirit, that all of it makes up who I am. All of it makes up who you are. And to begin to engage in spiritual practice. So how do I begin to practice self-love? So first of all, I get to do a body scan, very similar to what Angie did for us today. And from the tip of my head to the toes, the bottoms of my feet, that to begin to scan and just love every part of my body, however it shows up. The slant in my eyes, the width of my nose, the thickness of my lips, the color of my skin, the width of the hips and the waist. And if you have love handles, then love those handles. Okay, that's why they're called love handles. Love those handles. You know, those feet that have trudged and walked and gotten hurt and that have helped us to move along, right? All of our body parts, whether they call them private or public, you know, standing before a mirror and just looking just about not even 2 feet where you can actually see yourself, whether it's your head, whether it's your full body, and just kind of going, oh, look at a new mole right there. Wow, like when did you get there? And wow, what are you here to say to me? And oh, look, a new little wrinkle when I smile. What if we could actually begin to accept ourselves and to love ourselves in such a deep and profound way that we were no longer enemies with our bodies, but that in fact we loved our bodies? That we loved our bodies, because to love our body is to love God. To love our body is to love God itself. And so we begin to do that through that physical looking. We begin to do that in our meditation, like Angie brought us to today. We begin to do that in our prayer work. In other words, if you're not loving your body right now, then have that be part of your treatment work. There's one power, one presence, one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. That life is whole. That life created everything out of itself. Therefore, my life and my body temple is the life of God. Therefore, my body temple is whole, perfect, and complete, because that is the truth of God. And if that's the truth of God, then that's the truth of me. And that means that this body temple is whole, perfect, and complete. So in this moment, I'm simply calling forth a love and an appreciation and an endearment. And right now, I hug and hold my body in high esteem. I give it clean water. I bathe it. I take care of it. I exercise when I need to. I stretch when I need to. I give myself powerful messages and remind myself of the truth of who I am, that my body temple is the unique and perfect way that God shows up as human. Like that, beloveds, having that be our prayer work. And so I accept that for myself. I accept that for each and every person. And I release this word into the activity of the law, and I let it be so. And that becomes part of our prayer work, that simple prayer that took not even 2 minutes, that we begin to have that be part of who we are and how we show up. That we stop judging others. That we stop, in fact, looking at other people with judgment about their body. About, oh, look, right? That we go, look at God. Look at how God expresses. Last week, I think it was mentioned that, in a bouquet of flowers, no two flowers are ever the same. And yet we don't curse one flower over another. We kind of go, wow, look at the way this flower is expressing. You, beloved, are that flower. You are not separate from consciousness. Your body is consciousness in physical form. You are the body of God. And so to the degree in which we remember that, in which we support one another in knowing that, to the degree in which we practice appreciating our body and appreciating the bodies of other people, it's to that degree that we recognize that all life is beautiful, that all life is sacred. I want to close with just sharing what Ernest Holmes, well, actually not even Ernest Holmes, it's from the book of the month. Concepts like self-acceptance and body neutrality are not without value. When you have spent your entire life at war with your body, these models offer a truce. But you can have more than a ceasefire. You can have radical self-love, because you already are radical self-love. And that comes from The Body Is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor, which is the book of the month. And so I want to just remind us at this point in time that I delight in the wonder of my body, and I treat my body kindly. I delight in the wonder of my body, and I treat it kindly. And if you like the one by India Irie even more, my body is beautiful and sacred, and I'm going to celebrate it. And so I invite us all to celebrate our bodies even now. So let's move into prayer. How grateful I am in this moment to recognize the one power, one presence, one life that is God, that has created everything out of itself, that is whole, perfect, and complete, and recognizing that I am the body of God. That mind, body, spirit, that consciousness, and even in physical form, that this particular body temple is the unique, unrepeatable, magnificent, powerful, joyous way that God shows up in human form. And so I give thanks for my body temple. I give thanks for every organ, every function, every action, the way the cells duplicate. I give thanks for every noise that my body makes, for the way it digests its food, the way it assimilates it, the way it digests it. I give thanks that my blood circulates through my body temple, and that oxygen fills my lungs, and that I give out carbon dioxide, and that the plants take that carbon dioxide, and they in turn are in harmony with my body and give me oxygen. I am grateful for the way this body temple is taking me through this human experience as I am this conscious being. I love that there's no separation. Nothing, that this body is the body of God. So I treat it as such. I delight in it. I care for it. And I practice radical self-love. I practice radical self-care. And I practice loving this body temple and loving all body temples. So because I already know the abundance of this spiritual community, the peace, the joy, the health, the wholeness of this spiritual community, I give thanks that answered prayer is a thing. And that in each and every household that is represented online, on Zoom, on YouTube, Woo! I adore my body temple, and I'm simply knowing that the abundance is real and that it keeps on flowing. I'm knowing that the abundance of health and wholeness. I'm simply knowing that peace and that love, that joy, that those experiences that we get to experience in and as our body, that they are beautiful and precious, and that we love the color of our skin, our ethnicity, our race, our age, the way our body looks, that we appreciate whatever hair is on our bodies, that we simply love our body temples, and we know that it is the unique, unrepeatable, powerful, badass way that God shows up in human form. So for this and so much more, I give thanks. Letting it be so, I simply say, and now it is, and so it is, and it shall be. Amen. Thank you, beloveds, for being here today. Thank you for showing up as you. Thank you for being willing to love your body temple, and for you being willing to recognize that it is the body of God. It is the body of God. And so I look forward to seeing us all here again, same bat time, same bat channel next week. Know that if you are in need of prayer, to recognize this, to know this for yourself, that our practitioners are available and willing to know the truth with you. And that we are here as a spiritual learning center to continue our spiritual growth and unfoldment. So now, let us do our closing prayer. In love, we stand.
This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand.
Have an amazing week, everybody. Know that you're loved. Bye for now.